Hi, I'm Cathryn Mora. I'm a book coach working with coaches, speakers, and aspiring thought leaders to help them write a quality book and get it out into the world. Welcome to Cat's Book Chat. And today's topic is you want to write a book, but you don't have time. Now, this is something I hear really often from people who want to work with me. They'll say, I do want to write a book, I just don't have time at the moment. I'll let you know when I'm finished this project or this other thing or this other thing. And I will say that if you are working on a big program or launching a course or something like that, it's possibly not the best time to do the book. But if it's business as usual and you've got the regular amount of commitments that most people have, like family or going to the gym, keeping healthy, all of those things are all time consuming. And the reality is that literally nobody has time to write a book no matter what. There will always be a new thing getting in your way or cropping up. So how do we find time? It's all about making a decision and a commitment and then having the discipline to follow through on that. So when you think about it, we always find time to do the things that are important to us or the things that we love. So people find time to binge watch entire seasons of shows on Netflix. Or from a work perspective, I had a client who was fantastic, doing a great job with her book, but over time it sort of slowed down a little bit and she did less and less each week when we got together, or she had done less and less each week. And I said to her, I really feel like as much as I'm touching base and really encouraging you, you're really starting to take your foot off the gas with this. That was a very American expression, wasn't it, for an Aussie to say? We don't say gas. Take your foot off the accelerator with this. And she was saying, I don't have time. And then when we talked about what was going on for her, she was actually starting to pivot in her business and was wanting to, or had started studying something, a new area that she was really interested in. And she was telling me how she was spending hours a day researching this new area she wanted to work in and how interesting it was and some of the things she'd found out. And I said to her, you do realize what you've just told me? That's where your time has gone. You've found this new thing you're really, really enthusiastic about, and that's absorbing the time that used to be your book writing time. And obviously that happens. Sometimes things change or we pivot what we want to do, and that's why the book was failing to get written. It wasn't about the time. It was about the commitment and the enthusiasm to doing that. And her commitment had shifted to the new thing that she wanted to study, and rightfully so. She really did need to put time into that because there was exams coming up and things like that. But still, it's about recognizing what's really going on. Now, if you are committed to something, that's where you find the time and the enthusiasm to keep working on something. So in this case, your book. Now, I once saw an interview with Nikki Gemmell. She's an author. At the moment, now she's written about 20 books. At the time, she'd written 3. And she said that she'd been in an adult writing group with all of these really talented writers. And every time everyone submitted their work and she read it, she used to feel really untalented and like really shit because her work was so poor compared to everyone else's. And then she said, but 7 years later, I've published 3 books and none of them have published any. And I realised that writing books isn't about talent, it's about discipline. Now, at the time I saw this, I had spent about 20 months writing 8 chapters of my book. I used to just work on it wherever I felt inspired, and admittedly I had a baby and a full-time job. I was pretty tired and lacking any kind of motivation. And I thought, oh wow, this is the key. I want to get this book finished. And this is how I do it. It's discipline. It's like having a job. It's just showing up every day and doing the work. And I started writing for 15 minutes every day, whether I felt like it or not. Even if I was super, super, super tired, I would just say, look, it's only 15 minutes. And I would sit down at my desk and write for 15 minutes. It might have been rubbish. It might not have flowed. I might have not got much written. But sometimes I'd get into the flow and I'd sit there for 3 hours and write 3,000 words. And I finished those last 13 chapters in 10 weeks. And as I said, this was on top of having a baby, and I was still breastfeeding, and I had a full-time job. So it is possible when you find that right formula. And I now get clients to write for 15 to 20 minutes every day, and that's how they chip away at their book, rather than having one big session on a weekend where if you miss that for any reason, which obviously can happen quite easily on a weekend or any day for that matter, then there's your writing gone for the whole week. And momentum is really how books get written. So you're better off doing that little chunk every day, and you will finish your book. So that is the key to finding the time. And as you would know, if you do any kind of self-development work, being led by your feelings is never a good idea. So if you don't feel like writing your book and you don't work on it, then obviously it doesn't happen. But when you are committed to it and you're disciplined, you work on it every day, whether you feel like it or not, because you're being led by the decision and the commitment rather than the feeling. And that's how we achieve things like better bodies from going to the gym, or more health from eating more healthful food, that sort of thing. And that's how we write books. Do message me if you're interested in writing a book. I'm here for you. I'm happy to brainstorm your book idea and see what it can do for you. Hopefully these videos are helpful, and I will see you tomorrow on the next one. Bye.